Good afternoon. I'm going to try to do another one of my devotionals. This one I thought of because we're a group of us from church are doing a ladies' Bible study together. And this past week we were studying, we're studying the I am passages of Christ. And the one that we were looking at this past week was I am the light. And I love picture applications, and Jesus teaches with those all the time. And I gave an example. Well, I'll even go back and tell you a little bit of what we talked about. I wanted us to focus on three different parts of light. One is that Jesus is the light and what that means. And then our responsibility to accept that light and allow that light to illuminate our whole lives, giving us the light. And then the responsibility that goes along with having the light. And that gets to what my story that I was going to tell you today with the light and how we share the light. So, how many of you are great at serving and helping people, giving things away? My husband is one of those people. He will give money, tools, even a truck away if someone needed it. He sometimes will offer my services to cut someone's hair, babysit, cook a meal without even asking me, and then kind of give me that look of, sorry, honey, I forgot to ask you. And I'm glad to help, but it's not always my first thing to think of. So I appreciate that encouragement I get from him being so able to give freely. Well, this experience that I went through a few years ago in a school I was working at, we had a time when we had no kids in our hall, and I was working with all the ELA teachers. And all of a sudden we hear a teacher scream from one of her classrooms, not a scream, but just a loud holler, because she wanted to make sure all the other teachers heard from their own rooms and not have to get up and go get someone. So and I was out in the hallway during this whole situation, working on some bulletin boards. I hear her holler, "I need a light. Does anyone have a light?" And immediately after that, 3 or 4 teachers all run to their doors holding lamps in their arms. Some had floor lights, some had small lights, some had little table lamps, all different colors, but they were all eager and ready and ran to give the light to whoever needed it. I probably would have totally missed this point if they had been asking for erasers or markers or extra dictionaries or something. I would not have got this point. But because she asked for the light and everyone heard and knew what she needed, and they ran out with their lights to share with her. To me, that was such a great example of what this world needs. People are crying out for the light, but maybe it's not as easily heard. Sometimes it's just a glance as you make eye contact with somebody and they have a look that shares with you that there might be some struggles going on. Sometimes it might be a text message of just saying, "How are you?" or "What are you up to today?" But a hope that you'll respond and engage and start a conversation with them because they are in need of the light that we can offer someone. I want us to remember the importance of reaching out and sharing the light. Back to my beginning of when I first started, I was expressing with you the importance of God and realizing Christ is the light, how the light illuminates our life, making us able to be a light to others, and then our responsibility to be that light. Who can you be a light for today? Who is crying out to you in maybe not as obvious ways as the teacher did when she was wanting a light for her room, but we are responsible to have our eyes open and hear the needs of those around us. I want to quote the verse that I think what I just shared and spoke with really comes from. In Matthew 5:15-17, which is a lesson Jesus spoke, we call it the Sermon on the Mount, and its entirety is pretty much word for word right there in the book of Matthew. Luke and the other Gospels will share it in segments all through it, but you can find most of these teachings throughout all four Gospels. But in Matthew 5:15-17, he says, "No one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket, but rather on a lampstand, and it gives light for all who are in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men so that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." The good works aren't there for others to see and notice for themselves, but it's so that they can see Christ in us and glorify him. I hope you all are having a blessed day, and I think the opportunity for us to be able to be the light and share it with others is the best thing we can do in the time that we're going through right now in our world. Find ways that you can serve and help others around you and spread the light of Christ. It just may be a soul that you're able to save today. Thank you.